Hey gang, welcome to Time in the Market. Hope you're having a good day. We are talking about the Dark Country land sale and NFTs in general. This is another NFT based video. If you're not familiar with NFTs, they're non-fungible tokens, essentially collectibles housed on the blockchain. And the cool thing about these is that right now they're kind of in their infancy. Who knows what they're going to become, but there's already a bevy of video games that are being launched on the concept of NFTs and the concept of the consumer, the player owning the in-game currency, the in-game cards, the in-game whatever that the game is based on. There's a couple of popular games like Alien Worlds that have 1 million+ players where you can collect cryptocurrencies that you can actually sell on exchanges like Binance, but you could also collect NFTs that you can sell on secondary exchanges like Atomic Hub, and those NFTs help you play the game better. Alien Worlds is a very simple game where you basically just mine and collect TLM, and that's it. You keep mining, and sometimes you get an NFT. That's really all it has going for it. But there's a future path where they're going to add Thunderdome, where they're going to add other things, battling, exploration, etc. The thing I do want to talk about is something that is a key concept of the game is land. Within the game of Alien Worlds, and I'm using this as an example to what I'm going to talk about soon, there are lands that you can mine on, and these lands are actually owned by players. Early adopters of the game who could have bought these lands at a pretty low price when it launched via packs, whatever, and now are getting the benefit of the game becoming more popular. And that's what happened recently with Dark Country. They had a land release basically a week ago for whitelisted people who have been playing the game for a while, and I was lucky enough to be on that list of people who have been playing the game for a while because I do own some cards here. I've played the game. This is actually a fun, basically trading card Magic the Gathering type game that you can play. While the cards don't do anything yet, they're sort of in the alpha phase of the game. You can download the game, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to try it and play for free. There's still a lot of kinks to work out, but they're also launching another kind of an expansion within the game, and this is more of a adventure exploration type thing, which I'll talk about soon. But I was really excited to be part of the whitelist and sort of get the ability to buy a land, because if this game does become something cool, then this could be a pretty good venture for myself. If you think about Alien Worlds, people who bought these lands early on profited quite a bit, because take a look at what Atomic Hub has. These packs were probably in the 100, 200, 300, 400 range per land or something like that at most. I don't even know what it was. I know what the Dark Country land sale was, and I'll tell you that in a second. But they're selling for $8,000 a pop now, and this is lower because TLM has fallen quite a bit. TLM used to be trading at 50 cents. Now it's trading more so in the 20 cents range because of what's going on with cryptocurrency. But at the end of the day, the landowners in Alien World, they get a commission sometimes depending on who mines on their land, but they also get an automatic 600 TLM per week or so. You can kind of check that on the blockchain. So that's, they're making $120 a week essentially by doing nothing, by being an early participant in the game and owning the land. And you can certainly do that by buying one of these lands on a secondary marketplace like Atomic Hub, but it's quite a lot of money to spend. However, if you're lucky enough to be a participant in the early phase of the game, you sort of benefit from that popularity, the explosion in popularity, and have made probably quite a bit of money along the way. Obviously, the risk with this is, hey, if the game never took off, you spent money on nothing. Or if you buy land now and TLM crashes or the game kind of dies, you're spending a lot of money on nothing. So there's a big risk reward you're taking here, but it is a fun way to participate in the cryptocurrency space. And that's kind of why I did it. I don't see this as an investment when I bought the Dark Country lands because they were quite expensive. However, I see it as a fun way to sort of see what is going on in the NFT cryptocurrency space, where it can go, where the blockchain can take you when it comes to entertainment and other expansions of the blockchain, and maybe make some money if I can. And truthfully, if I wanted to sell my lands on the secondary market space now, I could already make my money back. So we'll talk about what that means. There's also other games in this vein, like Rplanet is another one. This is kind of an element creation game where you just sort of stake other NFTs and get ether, and then you can buy little random elements and combine them into bigger elements. And there's many recipes, many of which haven't been found yet. So that's kind of the basis of the game. They also sell packs that basically give you guaranteed ether, and those recently had a sale that was essentially something I wanted to get into, but it sold out so quickly that I wasn't able to. And if you kind of look at what these packs are going for, these were packs that were selling for $30. The mini packs were $30 and included 1,000 ether, which is basically like X dollars per day, which is why people wanted them so badly. Because right now, the economy is pretty good in these games, to be truthful. You know, for example, I've had a bunch of cards from a variety of games I've had, and most of these are from Dark Country, which is what I'm going to talk about soon. And I basically get about 1,000 ether per hour, and that adds up. Basically, my 1,000 ether per hour. There's a calculator you can find. My 1,000 ether per hour is about $100 that I'm making a month just from staking these cards that I spent $250 on maybe. So it's quite profitable right now, really. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone who isn't willing to lose 100% of their investment, but for now it's pretty cool. I saw the Rplanet packs go on sale, and there were, for example, there were packs selling for $120 that gave you a guaranteed 4,000 ether per hour, and that's, you know, you're spending $120 to basically make most of that back in a week plus. So that's why people were so excited to get them. And if you look at these mega packs that were going for $120, they're now selling at the lowest for $4,000, and that's just ridiculous. So there is a big economy around these games, a lot of risk for sure, because you are involved in something that costs you upfront money, that potentially is dependent on this other game to generate income, that is dependent on wax, the token that these games are run on, retaining its value, ether retaining its value, and all of that. So a lot of things you have to take into account before spending money. And I don't use the word investing here. This is not investing. I think you're spending money with the hope that you're playing something fun, but also potentially making some money off of that. So I went into this land sale with the hope of that. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get one, but I was able to get one pack. And these packs went for $600. So there were two different packs. There was one pack that went from $100, that $200, sorry, that included one land, and also another pack. This is the mayor's pack, which I bought, which went for $600 and included 3 lands. And these all have the capacity to include, you know, 3 Dark Country lands and the chances of getting a common, rare, epic, legendary, and mythic. So really, hopefully, when I open this pack, the opening website isn't out there yet, I'll get one of the rare or better lands. But if not, it is what it is, because those do more for you, and we'll talk about what lands do and what the game is actually going to be soon, because I really wanted to dive into that. So I spent $600 on that, and you can kind of see if I wanted to resell that right now, the lowest price on the market is almost $1,800. So I could make 3x my investment already, and I use the word investment in this case because it's paying off. But that's the risk you're taking with some of these things, right? There is a demand supply curve for land. Often the supply is very low and the demand can be very high, which is why this is selling for so much, because people kind of look at Alien Worlds, hey, I could be making in the future a couple $100 a month just from being a landowner. Or they look at Rplanet, where they have these packs that include land type elements that are staked on the game, and you say, hey, I could be making a couple $100 a week just by staking these things if I get in on it. And I kind of looked at it that way as well. But I also kind of looked at this and said, hey, Dark Country, compared to some of these other games, is already kind of a pretty cool game. And they're introducing some cool stuff soon that is going to make it even better, that is going to allow you to use your cards that you have in game to kind of play a different game, a roguelike, an exploration type game. And that's what I wanted to talk about. What are these lands anyway? What the hell have I bought? And they did a post a couple of months ago, maybe 2 months ago, before the land sale, that kind of said, well, this is what we're trying to do. You know, we're going to have a world map. We're going to have a continent that the world map pertains to. And what it's interesting and what they're doing is that they're making the game available on different blockchains, which can be good or bad. Obviously, if you're not committed to one blockchain, that means if a certain blockchain dies and you happen to be on that blockchain, or if a certain blockchain doesn't have enough of a user base and you happen to be on that blockchain, as a person who's playing the game, you might not be so happy. But it also makes it so that it's potentially available to a bigger group of players. For example, I wonder if people on the Flow blockchain will be able to play on my land, which is on the Wax blockchain, or if it's kind of separate. I prefer it to be combined, but who knows? That's something I have to get more details on. And then you have your land plot, which is essentially what I'm buying as a landowner here, as a person who was able to get in on one of these packs. And again, this is only interesting because I was able to get on one of these packs in the pre-sale. I was able to pay retail price instead of having to go into the secondary market now and pay 3 times that. And again, if the game is very popular, that might still be worth it in the long run. But that's the risk you're taking with some of these purchases you're making in these NFT based games. One, the game could obviously die and it could be completely worthless if there isn't enough of an uptick. And even if it succeeds, maybe the popularity isn't anywhere close to Alien Worlds, isn't anywhere close to Rplanet. Maybe the token that exists in this game. And one thing to remember is that this ether you collect in Rplanet, you could just go to an exchange like Alcor and exchange it for wax, which you can then put on Binance and sell. And I'm assuming the similar thing will exist here, where you get a currency in game that you can exchange for wax and actually make real world money from a game like this, which is why people like it, right? At the end of the day, these NFT based games could potentially be just like any other video game, except you share in the possibility of profit making. Whether you're a player, you can collect NFTs, you can sell them on the secondary market, you can trade the cards that you don't have for cards that you do have, you could sell the cards that you have, make some wax, which then you could buy other cards with. That's why NFTs are cool. In my opinion, you're sort of taking something that has a real world application like Magic the Gathering, but you're removing the annoyance of having to, hey, buy packs at a store or online. And if you want to trade a card, you have to find somebody to trade them with. If you want to sell a card, you have to go on eBay or whatever. It's kind of a physical process. While this is all done online, it's very easy to buy and sell cards. It's very, very easy to trade cards. And that's kind of why I think this has potential. And while games like Alien Worlds, Rplanet, and even Dark Country are very basic at this point, you can kind of see with the development of this world that they're making here, maybe they're going for something more. And if you look at their path forward, hey, we're gonna launch the Lands Alpha gameplay in Q3. There's going to be new Dark Country game models in Q4 21. There's going to be a roguelike campaign, and we're finally going to release the full Dark Country game by 22. So that's kind of where you are now. The game isn't even out yet. So you're kind of betting on this being something in the future. And if it becomes something in the future and there's a lot of players, then as a landowner now, I could certainly sell that pack to somebody else and make $1,200 right now versus what I bought it for. Or I could hold on to this and, hey, maybe if this game is popular, I'll get a lot out of this, both in entertainment value and maybe in actual money. We'll see. So what are the lands of Dark Country, right? They are valuable assets that can be sold and traded as NFTs on the markets, just like any other game. They are a multi-chain NFT game. Multi-chain is the unique thing here. They're divided into, the world map is divided into a number of continents, each one designated for a different blockchain. Every continent has a 100 by 100 dimension with its own coordinates on the world map, and 4 out of the total 10,000 land plots will be available for user ownership, and the rest will be used for special in-game activities. So you can kind of see, we talked about common lands, rare lands, epic lands, legendary lands, and mythical lands, kind of where they're placed. And you've got a lot of lands that are common that basically have a normal farming rate, and we'll see what farming actually is. But these are the majority of the lands that you're going to have out there. So when I open that pack in a couple of weeks, hopefully I get a rare land or an epic land or a legendary land or a mythical land. That would be very cool because those have better farming rates. They have more unique value, and they would resell if you want to just get out of the game altogether and resell your land. They would obviously sell for a much higher price because they are much more unique. And hey, if we get a mythical land, that'd be exciting. And then you've got a dark portal in the center of the land, which is the primary source of an in-game currency, the shadow dimes, and a place to go on quests and farming of other resources. So a lot of these games are very, farming based, etc. You're farming currency, farming whatever, and doing something with it. This is going to be no different. So every day, the Dark Portal generates a certain amount of shadow dimes and other resources that are distributed among the landlords according to the landlord's zone farming rate and influence level. So obviously, if you have a mythical land versus a common land, you're going to get more shadow dimes versus on a mythical land versus a common land. What do the assets feature? Well, you can own, rent, and earn. That's kind of the primary reason I got into this because, hey, if there's going to be an in-game economy, if you want to participate in it, the easiest, most passive way to do it is to be a landowner in one of these games. Same as in Alien Worlds. In Rplanet, it's not really a land-based game, but you do get rigs that you get from those packs that generate the most of those assets in game. So it is a lot of the in-game stuff does benefit some of the users that hold land, and that's probably why there's going to be people who probably bought like 7 of these packs if they could, and are going to have a ton of land that they are hoping will make them some money, because there are people out there who are making literally thousands and thousands of dollars being an Alien World landowner by doing nothing. And thousands of dollars a month. If you have a dozen lands or something like that, you can make a significant amount of money if people are farming on your land, and there's a commission if you're getting the standard land, if whatever. And that was all from, hey, being an early player in the game. And my hope, obviously, as someone who bought a $600 pack for a random internet game, is that something like this happens to this game. However, if it doesn't, then it's only $600. Again, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this to learn about blockchain, wax, etc., blockchain-based games. So there's significant risk with these games. You know, if you're expecting this to continue forever as an Alien Worlds land owner, maybe it won't. If you're staking a lot of stuff and spending a lot of money to stake a lot of stuff on Rplanet because you think it's going to continue forever, maybe it won't. These games will change the way they reward people. Things like that will happen. Rplanet just did that, where they changed the way they rewarded out games that are not Rplanet based. So they do add outside games like Dark Country, so you can stake your Dark Country cards, but they change the way that's done based. So the more Dark Country cards are staked, the less each individual person makes, etc. So it certainly makes more sense to buy Rplanet packs when available. However, that's why they're so expensive on the secondary market as well. So going back to this here, well, what are the features? We can own, rent, and earn. If you're a landowner, you obtain several options to take part in the Dark Country universe. Some are active, some are passive. You can grab a share of the in-game currencies from adventures. You can receive fees for various in-game activities. You rent land to someone and get income, enable card borrowing, farm NFTs. So a lot of this game is based on, hey, we're gonna get shadow dimes, and we're gonna get more NFTs that we could probably use to do more things within the game. As a landowner, you know, my hope is that there's some sort of passive way for me to just get shadow dimes, and these shadow dimes have a value that I can exchange them for wax in the future, especially once the game becomes more popular. That's kind of what you're hoping. But again, if people are using your land, maybe you'll get some extra shadow dimes. If people are borrowing cards from you, maybe you can have since I have 310 cards, maybe I can say, hey, if you want to pay me a few shadow dimes, you can borrow one of these cards to take on a quest. Maybe automatically I can get NFTs just by owning land, and by people doing stuff on my land, I can build things on my land. So I can earn resources, shadow dimes, and then I can build and develop my land to unlock more buildings, to make the land more attractive for people to use, the people that are actually playing the game. Because at the end of the day, I'm a landowner, but I'm also going to be a player, and the hope is that there's a lot of other players playing the game as well. There's a black market where you can buy and sell items, and the owner gets a commission. There's a blacksmith where you can craft weapons, so there's going to be weapons as well. A tailor to craft clothes, maybe you'll have a unique character in game that you can dress. A tavern where people can take quests from your land, an alchemy lab where you can make potions, a library where you can make magic scrolls, a mercenary outpost where you can borrow cards. And then you can explore. So they're kind of the starting point to enter the Dark Country universe, with many activities on the lands. That's quests, adventures, portal beasts. And also as a landowner, you can create. So you can upgrade cards, craft clothes, weapons, and scrolls, summon minions. Again, this is a card-based game, so I'm assuming cards are going to be the starting point that you use to play the game. You know, quests might be, hey, you're fighting this NPC, a computer controlled character, and you using your 7 cards to play against them or something like that, right? So if you want to download the game, you can, and kind of check out what it is. It's a Magic the Gathering type game, and to me that sounds kind of cool. Like if you can have a Magic the Gathering type game, but you can also add a quest type area. Hey, I'm exploring things, I'm fighting monsters, but when I fight that monster, it's not just a one-on-one thing, it's a card battle. So it uses the core mechanic, which is the card game, but also kind of develops it into this world that you can experience as a card player. And that's what they're aiming for here. That's kind of what they're going, and they're kind of trying to develop an economy and a gameplay around it. So what are these? The currency that's going to use is going to be SDM Shadow Dimes. Shadow Dimes is a transferable in-game currency that can be mined within the Dark Country lands and used for cards. heroes, purchasing, renting, and upgrading, building, construction upgrades, quests and adventures, staking, and voting. So kind of similar to what Alien Worlds does, where it's transferable, kind of similar to what Rplanet does, where it's in-game and transferable. So what I get from that is, hey, you're going to get shadow dimes as a landowner and a player. As a landowner, it's kind of going to be more automatic by people using your land also. As a player, you're probably going to have to do certain things. Maybe you'll start with some shadow dimes. Maybe you'll be able to get some passive shadow dimes every day. And then each new continent, there's a fixed amount of 100 billion SDMs that will be provided with the following distribution. 20 billion will be for staking, 30 billion will be for play to earn, and then 50 billion will be in the reserve pool. And then a daily supply amount of SDMs from play to earn pool will be distributed among all landowners for mining activities depending on the farming rate and influence parameter of their land plots. That kind of seems to me like, hey, as a landowner, I'm going to be making some passive shadow dimes that I could do something with. I could either probably exchange them for wax on an exchange like Alcor, or I can make my land better to increase its influence, to increase how it attracts people, etc. So there's certainly going to be an incentive to keep the shadow dimes in game, because the more you're influenced, the more money you get. So obviously the farming rate matters. So you want to get those mythic, you want to be lucky enough to get those mythic, legendary, rare, epic lands. But if you're not, you're not. And then additional SDMs will be transferred from future activities pool to play to earn pool alongside the launch of new activities like arena, player versus enemy, and others. So that's going to be kind of neat. And then other resources to create special buildings, craft items, or prepare your heroes for quests and adventures. You will need resources like food, wood, crafting, and others. Resources are produced by buildings on your land or can be purchased with shadow dimes, as well as looted during quests and adventures. So this kind of seems like, hey, we're developing something deep here, which I kind of like. We'll see where it goes and how long it takes to get there. If you look at Alien Worlds, they do have a plan to do more, but right now, to be fair and to be honest, this isn't much of a game. I'm hoping Dark Country is more of a game. So you've kind of got this area where, hey, there's PvP battles. You pay shadow dimes to do that. If you win or lose or whatever, if people use your land, you increase your influence. You can develop a land as a landowner. And as a landowner, you get that money from the shadow dimes pool based on the land and the influence you have. And you can also use shadow dimes on a deck to kind of get quests and maybe develop your deck. And introducing the lands and the gameplay layer into Dark Country and integrate the existing card game mechanic to create an absolutely new play to earn experience for both players and landlords. So there's going to be a landlord, right? The main idea is to make your land as attractive as possible and engage as many users as possible. It can be done via hosting activities, building constructions, upgrades, etc. Anything that will increase your land's influence. So that's going to be interesting. Is there going to be incentive for people to go to the common lands if all you own are common lands? Or is everybody going to be in the mythic lands? Is everybody going to be epic lands and legendary lands? Hopefully they make it so that landlords who even own the common lands still benefit. They kind of, hey, maybe there's a maximum amount of people that can be on a certain land or whatever, because otherwise you really don't want to shut out the people that own the common land and only cater to the people that own the 20 or 30 good lands that are going to be out there. And from the user hero perspective, the gameplay will require a land plot to start with. This can be yours or belong to somebody else's. And hey, if you're playing and once this is available, just come use my land. If you're watching this video, we both win if I have a land by then and this game is viable. And a deck with a minimum of 5 Dark Country cards. So the cool thing is that if you sign up, and I'll leave a link below, you do get a deck, or a pack for free, basically, with 5 cards. So I think this is going to be basically free to play for most people. Certainly if you're buying packs, your deck will be better faster. But based on what I read before, it seems like you'll be able to farm NFTs and get cards from quests, for example, to build out your deck and get more cards. Certainly you'll have to pay some shadow dimes to do that. But it seems like it'll be free to play, which is what you want. Alien Worlds is free to play. You can certainly get better by buying things on the secondary market. I don't even think they sell packs anymore, but there's no need to do so. And hopefully Dark Country is the same way, that if you are a player that doesn't own a land, which is going to be the majority of the player base, you can easily get in on that. Like for me, for example, I have 310 cards actually, and I'm certainly more than willing to give some of those away once this game launches and kind of help other people play. I really enjoy the card game dynamic of it, and I think that if you kind of develop a world around it and you make it so that, hey, you can take the card game PvP mechanics which is they're doing. They're taking place on lands now, rewarding players and landowners with shadow dimes for the core in-game activity. If you're taking those PvP games, maybe getting some shadow dimes for winning, etc. Maybe I can host tournaments on my land. Maybe I can give rewards for those tournaments as a landowner. It seems really cool, especially if they develop it into more of a, hey, maybe there'll be quests that are PvE based battles with the deck that you're using. Maybe there'll be other things that you can do. Maybe you can, the Dark Portal sounds cool as well. So further gameplay perspectives, expeditions every weekend. Country owners can open the portal to the center of the map within their land by paying shadow dimes. So one way to attract people. The expedition has 25 levels, increasing difficulty. Expeditions containing crafting reagents that are used to craft items via crafting buildings. Crafting reagents have a limited supply every week, and the portal closes after all reagents are depleted or time expires. Every next level of the portal, difficulty and entry price increases, but the player can farm the same level multiple times. Every victory in the portal increases the influence of the land. So pretty cool. There's passive PV activities that are going to be available through the lands. Players build decks around their heroes and send them on short quests and get rewarded with game resources and shadow dimes. So again, this is ways for players to get shadow dimes. There's got to be an economy that doesn't just reward landowners in a big way. Players have to be rewarded well if this game is to succeed. And I think that's kind of where Alien Worlds is at a crossroads, because they certainly give a lot of rewards to landowners because those are limited. However, now that because there's so many players, the number of shadow dimes, or in this case TLM, that's going to players is very, very low. So I'm just, until more stuff launches there, I'm just bored of it, honestly, because all you do is hit mine and do a captcha, and that's it. And this seems like it's going to have a lot more stuff, which is really exciting as a person who's interested in the NFT space. And you've got a part of the resources upon completion will go to the owner as a commission, and number of available quests depend on the level of the tavern building and can be boosted by external locations on the world map. So again, it seems like there's a way for your common land to be better than other common lands and probably epic lands and other things. So if you have spent a lot of your shadow dimes to develop your land versus just buying things with it or trading it for actual money, your land will be more attractive to people and you'll make more shadow dimes in the long run. So quest durations depends on hero rarity, and I'm not really familiar with heroes in this game, so we'll kind of see how that goes for players. Hopefully they give you a hero to start with. Common heroes have the shortest quests, and there's quests that are as long as 3 days up to a week depending on your mythic hero. So maybe these are, you get rewarded with hero cards for this, or who knows, or depends on the hero you're using. It seems like if you're using a mythic hero for it to take 3 days, but I'm assuming the rewards there will be a lot better than a common hero. Quest access. To start a quest, the player has to pay with food that is generated in his home city. The amount of food for a quest depends on the quest length. Quest rewards. Players will be rewarded based on the quest difficulty and cards that they commit to the quest with shadow dimes and game resources. Rewards will be dropped throughout the whole quest rather than upon completion. That's kind of cool. Part of the resources will stay with the landowners, and other land features that I can build a hub that will allow other people to lend or borrow cards. That's kind of cool, especially if I have 310 cards. Hey, you want to borrow some of my cards? Have at it, guys. Enjoy my land and pick it, because I'm going to be invested in this game. And if this turns out to be really cool, I'm certainly going to be buying more cards and trying to build the best land I can build. And then landlords will have an opportunity to make and apply changes to their existing cards, cost, attack, HP, and this way buff their hero deck for better quest performance. And this option is also available for land-free users for a fee. So that's a lot of cool stuff here. I'm really excited about what they're doing here. I think as far as these NFT-based games go, even before this launches, Dark Country is the one I've had the most fun on, because it's an actual game to me. It's like Magic the Gathering. This is already there, right? You can purchase cards. I think right now you actually can't because they have that shut off. But because the game isn't live yet, you can just download the game for free and you get access to all of the available decks, all of the available cards, and you can try the game. If you've played Hearthstone, if you've played Magic the Gathering, if you've played any of those type of card games, you'll understand how the game functions and what it is. You kind of build a deck of cards. In this case, it's kind of already built for you, and you play other players. Each turn, you get an additional point of power, and you can play more powerful cards as the game goes along. And you attack other players and try to get their life down to zero. So that's the beginning of the game. But now you've got this other thing. Hey, we're building a hometown. As a landowner or even as a player, you can participate in the expansion of this whole hometown. You can explore your land. You can send your hero with a deck into an adventure to conquer monsters. So a lot of this stuff sounds really, really cool. And that's why I get into the land ownership, even though it's $600, which is certainly quite a lot of money. I'm kind of excited to see where this goes, and this is still in the very, very early stages of what this game is going to be. Again, for me, none of these NFT games are investments. They are risky as all heck, but I am willing to lose, a grand or 2 grand in learning the way this goes. And if there's upside in that this game takes off and my 3 lands are actually generating me shadow dimes that I can then trade for money, then hey, awesome. But at the end of the day, if I was in this for money, which certainly some people are, I could just do this and I could sell my card for $1,800 right now and people would buy it, right? Because people are buying it at that price. And in fact, somebody bought it for $2,300 and there's 256 sales at that level. Now somebody was silly enough to sell this item that went for $600 for $182, but who knows what they're thinking there. So I think the pack opening is actually going to be about 3 weeks from now. So you can't open your land packs until like sometime in the middle of June, and hopefully by the end of June, or at least moving into the third quarter, the land alpha will be out there so I can start playing and I can start making my land better. Because at the end of the day, I'm in this for the long haul. I want to make this land as good as possible. And if people are playing, I want them to be using my land, not just because I'll make money, because I want to transfer that money back to the land itself, and also do a lot of giveaways with any of that money that I make, because that's kind of why I'm here. I'm here to learn and participate in a new game, a new world of games, really. And I've made a couple of videos about what these could mean for players in the future, trading your assets, owning your assets. That's the important thing here, right? If you play, Call of Duty, Overwatch, whatever, you can buy these skins, you can buy all these things, but all you're really doing is you're giving a company money and having nothing in return besides a digital asset. Here, sure, you're giving a company money, but you have a digital asset that you can sell in the future. You can potentially generate income off of. You can trade with other players. It's all so easy because of the blockchain and because of how the transactions on the blockchain are tracked. So that's why I'm eager to see where this goes. And to me, this Dark Country expansion is probably the first time where I'm like, wow, this could really be cool, because certainly Alien Worlds is a game, but it's not much of a game. And Dark Country is already much further along with their core base mechanic. And to add this kind of land-based aspect to it and an exploration aspect to it, I think it's going to be hopefully really cool. And if it's not, then what are you going to do? I spent $600 on something that seems kind of fun, and that's certainly a decent amount of money, but it's not going to change my life if it goes kaput. But hopefully it doesn't. Guys, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to leave a link down below to Dark Country if you want to check it out. I think you and I both get a free pack, so it is a referral link, just an FYI if you do that. Hopefully you'll enjoy the game. At the end of the day, you don't have to buy anything, and it seems like that's the case with the lands as well. That's really what I want this to be. I want this to be a game that is play to earn, but not buy to play, right? And certainly it's, as with any game, you're going to be better off, as with any card game really, or tradable game, you're going to be better off than others if you do buy. But I want everybody to be able to play without having to spend any money. That's kind of the goal with a lot of these games. And if they play without having to spend any money to start, maybe besides staking on the Wax blockchain, and if you have any issues with that, let me know it. I could stake a few Wax for you. I still have a bit left after buying the pack here. You can also get NFTs that you can sell and buy other things that you want. You can potentially get shadow dimes by playing in-game that you can, spend in-game or trade for other cryptocurrencies or tokens that are in other games. So that's kind of the cool economy that's built around these games. I've talked about it in detail in other videos that you can certainly check out in my NFT playlist. But that's it for today. Just wanted to give you a heads up that, hey, I'm going to be playing Dark Country. I'm excited to see where this goes. I have a land pack. I was actually thinking about buying another pack, the $200 pack, when the public sale went live, but literally it sold out in 10 seconds. I loaded it up, it was sold out. So, sometimes that's why you want to be an early adopter on some of these games, because you get the cool thing about Dark Country is they did do a whitelist, which means that, hey, if you were one of the first players, you were in sale one, which was actually I think it was $150 off from the $600 pack. So they reward the people that were there from the beginning. Then if you had a significant amount of assets, if you've been playing for a while, if you've spent some money on the game, they put you in phase 2, which is where I was able to get my pack. And then phase 3 was the public land sale, which is the rest of the lands. There's not going to be any more lands available, unfortunately, unless they release some of those other 6,000 lands, which they probably don't plan to do. That one sold out in 10 seconds. Probably a lot of bots in that sale, which is kind of what happens on the Atomic Hub sometimes. But at the end of the day, they did reward the people that were there for a while, and that's kind of what you want to see from a game creator. And they did allow the public to get a small percentage of the land. So at the end of the day, I'll have 3 of the 4,000 lands. That'll be kind of cool. We'll see what comes of that. Maybe next year I'll be paying taxes on my earnings from Dark Country, and my accountant will be like, what the hell is this? I'll be like, listen, guy, I'm a landowner in Dark Country, and I'm making thousands and thousands of dollars a month. Ain't that the dream? Hopefully I get one of these mythic lands. If not, I'll settle for a legendary land. So we'll see. The likelihood is I'll get 3 common lands, and it'll be what it'll be, but I'll make the best of it. Guys, hopefully if you check out the game, you enjoy it. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. Leave a comment down below, a like, a subscribe. I think NFTs are cool, but as I said, even though this is an investment channel for the most part, when I talk about NFTs, I do not view them as an investment. Talk to a financial investment advisor before making any investment decisions of any sort. If you're buying NFTs with the expectations that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they're going to be much, much more worthwhile, I don't know if that's true. They could be gone 5 years from now. Who knows? This could be a boom bust type of thing. Could go the way of the dodo. Dark Country could not be a game in 5 years. Alien Worlds could not be a game in 5 years. I certainly hope they are, and I certainly hope this is the start and development of a new way to play video games for users to participate in those, but who knows? However, I'm willing to take that big risk and have fun with Dark Country because I'm already having fun with the game. I do play in tournaments sometime. I do play the game, the PvP aspect of it. I do have a bunch of cards that I am excited to build a deck around, but for now I just play the free game itself because the game is still an alpha. It won't release until 2022 for the full game. So lots to improve where it is and lots to iterate upon, especially this new lands release. It'll be cool to see where it goes, and I hope you're there for the ride with me. All right, thanks guys.